Welcome, everybody. Blerdlines, this is your man Cam. With me, as always, is
Woke Hokage.
as well as
Josh with a drink.
Sophisticated Josh.
and we forced him to watch this, but he did it anyway because he is the homie. Bringing up the rear.
Hey, it's Professor D. Talking about some Marvel stuff as we always do. And as you can hear that enthusiasm in my voice, probably ain't as thrilled about it as you.
Never enthusiasm in your voice. What are you talking about?
Have enthusiasm for some things, though. Not it.
But it's never in your voice. You never once heard you be like, yo, you got a lot. Like, you're not that guy.
No, it's in my words. That's all.
Yeah.
In the book.
Definitely.
And if you haven't noticed, we're back. Daredevil, Born Again. Is that the correct title? Right.
That is correct.
That's it.
Has dropped. The first two episodes it is on, Marvel has resurrected one of the fan favorite shows from Netflix. And after a pretty abysmal final season or last season, or whatever, they kind of came back and they kind of teased some grittiness and getting back to basics. And yay, we're back. And Daredevil, oh yeah, a little glimpse of Punisher in the trailer.
And we're gonna make it the way that Netflix made it. Was the implication? It didn't come out and say that.
Yes, that was the vibes that the trailer was giving. We got a slim down Wilson Fisk. We're like, okay, cool, we're here. Let's see what Disney's got in March.
So you gotta lose weight if you run for you gotta lose weight if you run for public office. So
yeah, probably the best line.
Disney, where Marvel shows go to die.
And honestly, that's a great way to start. So, first impressions. Only 2 episodes just came out. I think by the time this episode drops, will probably the third one was, but we all mostly watched the first 2. And honestly, it was a big cup of meh.
I didn't.
Me,
I didn't come away with that feeling.
meh is like it's okay.
Yes,
It's like
yes,
it's okay.
yeah, exactly. I wasn't like wowed. I wasn't like, it just kind of, I watched it to watch it because I wanted to make sure we all could talk about it, but I just didn't have any it
was
do
good.
much
It wasn't
for me to, yes. And to Dee's point, when something's kind of at this level, I definitely will wait for all the episodes to drop. I'm not tuning in every week. That it just didn't give me that vibe at all. Like if I'm around, I might catch a couple episodes, but like just from these 2, I was like, okay, cool. I'll wait till it all drops and then I'll come back and whatever. But that was my opinion. Cam, how you were talking about something a little bit earlier too.
I forgot. It was just, like I said, it was the first episode put me to sleep. Right. I'm not. But again, like I don't know if it was Ramadan kicking in, or if the show was like not worth my time. But it's not bad because I've seen worse. Again, this is mid, okay, and mid is just a pack of Reggie to me. It's anything to be raving about. Maybe the third episode picks up. I don't know. I'll see when I got the time to binge a little bit more, a few episodes. Again, it's a little too CGI for my taste. It's taken away from what I used to love about the Netflix version of the show. But again, when you're dealing with Disney, it's parameters they got to work within, and I'm not gonna get the same bag I got with Netflix, where it was gritty, it was new. I wasn't really a big Daredevil guy, even in the comics, and the Netflix show brought me to the Daredevil fold. I wanted to learn more about the character. I was already a Punisher fan from junior high, so I think they cast the Punisher actor John Berthold perfectly. And so that made the show even more amazing to me. But again, we've gone down this dog and pony show with Disney, and it's just they can never get to where I'm satisfied, especially with superhero flicks and adaptations and whatnot. It's just too safe, man. I need that grittiness.
Yeah, Josh, what you got?
I thought it was good. I thought the first episode specifically was good. second episode gave me a little bit more of what Cam was just saying in terms of starting to peel away a little bit from the Netflix series. And I would say even further, I think I think they're trying to do Netflix instead of just making it its own thing. And I don't think Marvel, like, short of bringing back the entire team that worked on the first one, I don't think Marvel's capable of pulling off what the first season of the Netflix series pulled off. I think they're trying to replicate some of that, which, I mean, that's not a bad thing necessarily, but I don't think, once you've seen it, it's kind of like the first Avengers movie. There was nothing like the first Avengers movie. And so Age of Ultron ends up, almost no matter what you do, Age of Ultron ends up being less than the first one. There's no way that you replicate the first one. You're not going to get that same, oh my God, I can't believe they are doing this reaction out of people. It'll still be a good movie. It'll still be good, it'll still be good material. It just won't have that shock and awe that the first one had. So, if they're going to replicate what the first one was, then okay, I guess, what the first season was and the first iteration of the show was. All right. But you're going to get a lot of shoulder shrugging and all right responses. And I think the second episode sort of careens in that direction pretty solid. And it sort of meanders into territory that Marvel has already been down. You know what I mean? They've done the Peter, well, not necessarily Marvel specifically, but like, they're doing the whole Spider-Man 2 thing where he spent, I already know we're going to spend like half the season with Matt lamenting about, how he crossed the line and how he couldn't save Foggy. And he's going to, go through that gauntlet of emotional torment, self-torment over the course of, at least if this is 8 episodes, we got 4 to 5 episodes of that coming, because he's probably going to jump back into the costume. They're probably at the middle point. They're going to do what Marvel and what Disney shows in general, whether it's Star Wars or Marvel. They're going to hit that midway point, and they're going to have that mid-season climax, and then they're going to have another climax at the end. And it's getting formulaic now, and I love my Marvel, don't get me wrong, but it's reaching a point now where we're going to reflect back on this when this is over. And I guarantee you it's going to be, if this is how many episodes is it supposed to be? Does anybody know?
I think it's 8.
So if it's 8, episode 4 is going to be a giant climax. It's going to have another giant fight. And then episode 8 is going to be another giant fight. And, I think Marvel is capable of the critique. What you hear from Marvel fans when you get negative critique, short of the fan bros who just can't be satisfied if it's not a white male doing amazing white male things, they're capable of better. You know what I mean? Like, it's you have Rick Remenders and Chris Claremont's and Michael Bendis storylines and Jason Aaron's storylines that you can pull from, that you can kind of just take from the page and dump on digital and just make them. You can make your tweaks here and there to make it its own thing, but you have storylines that you can pull from that will do the job with pretty solid ease. Most of the work is already done for you. So, I don't, again, I don't, like I say, when you hear critiques from Marvel fans, short of the maladjusted Marvel fans, when you hear critique from Marvel fans, it's because we've kind of already seen, if you read the books, you've already seen what the characters are capable of if they're in the right hands, and if you treat them the right way, and if you follow a reasonable hero's journey to its logical conclusion, you'll get a good story like in the hands of even semi-capable writers, and they're just not. Instead, they seem to be convinced that this cookie cutter way of making, it's this cookie here and this cookie here, and each one seems to be the same width and the same height, and it's just here and then here and then here, and they're all the same. They're all doing the same things. Star Wars is in the same for some, that I don't know if it's like an edict from on top, from up high, but they're doing the same stuff, and it's just not working. It's degrees of working or not working.
It's the degrees of meh. It's just like we know it, and then
that's the episode title.
Degrees of meh. Degrees. Josh, you said one thing about he's probably going to be Daredevil. He's better be Daredevil because we're not tuning in to watch the Avengers with Matt Murdock.
This is what I'm saying. You nailed it right on the head. Yeah, we're not. We want to see him and we know the other side of it, right? Because there has to be a certain amount of FaceTime with him not in the, that's just how that's going to work. There has to be a certain amount of FaceTime with him not in the mask and him not in costume, so that the actor gets to be able to sell the commodity is them as a person. The commodity is I'm me with bald with glasses and a beard, and that's my brand, and a gray hoodie, and that's my brand. And so you have to see me in that environment in order to sell me. But you also have to sell the character. You also have to sell the fact that there's this goofball running around in Kevlar and a devil mask, running around Hell's Kitchen with a white baton beating the crap out of people. And oh yeah, he's blind. So that's the sale. That's the sell. And that's the thing. So it takes deft writing and deft direction to be able to give you just enough of that, but also have the actor have his moment where he's able to just be out of costume and be the alter ego, and then sell the actor doing the thing visibly. You know what I mean? Like, we could easily toss it off as a stunt double. There's lots of character actors that are always in makeup that don't get their due because they're in makeup. And so they sell the character of them in makeup. And so there's a danger if he's the lead and that's who what he ends up being sold as. He can't sell himself as another thing if he's constantly in costume 75% of the time. So I get it, but there's a way to make that work. And
yeah. And I would say we talked about a little bit before, but we're saying how it was given big Titans season 1 and 2 Dick Grayson, where I didn't watch Titans. I stopped after season 1. I couldn't do it. If the cartoon is better than the live action, I don't need to go down.
Facts. Well, the first version of the cartoon.
But the I would say is like you said, we're not here to look, like Cam said, we're not here to be the Adventures of Matt Murdock. We're I'm trying to see Daredevil, and I'm not that big a fan of a Daredevil character, but the thing I did like about the original show was it was gritty, right? Netflix shows were the more grounded level Marvel stuff, right? So crime, thugs, a little bit of assassins, but things are grounded, less CGI, less CG stuff, more stunt choreography and that kind of stuff. And one of the homies, he was ninja number 7 or whatever, one of the hallway scenes, but he was saying the thing that he actually the one of the cool things about those shows was the choreography, and that they had that later on it got in a mess, but it kept the production value to just be yo, this is real people doing some stuff, and it was fun, and we as the audience enjoyed that. And I think that it was a little off-putting to see CG Daredevil. When I saw, I was like, wait, what's going on here? I don't need
a tiny bit.
Just a tiny bit. I didn't need that, let me just see him fight on the roof and get, tossed or whatever. But the fact that I saw that it kind of took me out of it. And kind of like what Cam said, that Wakanda vibes when we with the Gumby, I was just like,
you talking about the first Black Panther?
Yeah, I didn't need the Gumby fight.
Okay, so for clarity's sake, for people who may have not been with us for years, Cam is referring to the third act fight in the cave between T'Challa and
Killmonger
and Killmonger, and the rather lackluster the visual effects in that scene. Black on black on black. Two guys in black fighting in a black cave is just never gonna look.
What do we do?
Well, is the work that you would have to put in to make that look good was not put in, unfortunately.
We've monologued a lot, but I will let D come in and give us the realization that this sucks, but we're trying not to say it sucks. D.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with most of what all of you guys have said one way or the other. I wouldn't call it good. I wouldn't refer to it good. And I think where we're at now with most things is that if it's not great, it's, either bad or, either good or whatever. But this just, it just felt like more of the same. I mean, I didn't get any, for something that was gone and was made a sort of big return. I thought they were going to try to do something a little bit more nuanced, a little bit more creative, a little bit more bold in storytelling. But this felt, I will say, so as a sidebar, I was happy to see Foggy Nelson murdered. That may sound bad, but he was good thinking characters as well.
Why? So it doesn't make you sound like you're just like this nihilistic. I mean, you are, but why?
Because you asked me, I will, but it doesn't matter. He's a fictional character who never existed. So
no doubt.
But to Josh's point, I only dislike Foggy, this iteration of Foggy. I want to be clear. I don't like character, but I dislike this iteration of Foggy because he was very annoying in the other previous seasons. Very, very detrimental to Matt in not a way that challenged him narratively, and I'm sort of going from the joking part to the unpacking his function in the story, which was largely to complain about what Matt was doing and then go out of his way to create obstacles for Matt in order to get what he wanted, which was Matt to either stop or do this. So he became very annoying. Less, you look for that character to be the guy in the chair or the person in the chair or whatever. Oracle to Wing or Alfred to Batman. You get the challenge from Alfred here and there, where he's Batman like you need to be careful because you are just a human going out there doing all this stuff. But at the same time, Alfred has that. And that's why that relationship works. So Foggy didn't. So I just didn't like him. So I was happy to see him take a bullet to the chest. Now, having said that, this all happened in a very quick, short period of time at the beginning of the first episode. And we learned that it's Bullseye that's doing shooting. The one thing they did create was the mystery of who ordered Foggy to be killed. We don't know why. I thought it was a little confusing because I couldn't imagine being that important for anybody to care enough to put a hit out on him, but I was wrong. I thought maybe they would get Karen too, and then we would have two eliminated from this series entirely, but that didn't happen. She just moved to San Francisco, so that works too.
So wait, do you want Karen off the board? Just so I'm clear.
Oh yeah, I wanted Karen gone too. I like the new love interest a lot more because again, this is like she proved why she should be off the show, right? Because why wouldn't she talk to Matt? I couldn't understand why she was giving like such a hard time because he failed to save Foggy. I mean, did she not see him pursue the maniac with the gun that can miss nothing when he's trying to attack it? And he had turned his attention toward her. Very likely he dead too. But so wait, okay, so but she doesn't want to talk to Matt. She doesn't want to talk to him.
Super quick question. So, from a story perspective, do you feel like that served like taking it with like her? So taking out Foggy 1 and then 2, taking Karen off the board, as it were. and then her like annoyance with Matt over his seeming unwillingness to give up being the devil of Hell's Kitchen. Do you think that any of that worked? Did any of that work for you?
Well, I don't know. I was confused as to why she left why she left and moved to San Francisco, and why she was angry, why they hadn't talked. Maybe I missed it, because I will admit there were times where this thing had me kind of looking at the total runtime, like, come on, when is this going to be done? And that's never a sign. So I don't know if I missed it or if I was just spaced out while I was watching it and she said it. But if I recall, in the previous series, that was the reason she was upset with Matt, because he wouldn't walk away from being the devil. But this time, I didn't get if, and this is the problem when you have a show that goes from one iteration to the next and not many things change and they become unpronounced, is some of these elements get lost and they get confusing. Last Bullseye he was a shriveled up, kind of creature in a hospital that apparently still wasn't dead, and we just still, and I didn't get why Matt feel bad, because you pushed him off the roof, but he's still breathing, and then he's like sitting right across from you. He's fine. So
Marvel logic.
Well, and I think it's the superhero. It's the superheroism of it's not whether or not he lived, because that's totally a Disney thing that dude lived from that fall. But it's not the fact that he lived. It's more, I pushed him with the intent to kill him.
Yeah, and I understand that. I just don't. Again, I always say that how a story is told is just as important as what the story itself is. And I think that what I saw in those 2 episodes are an indication of, we now are still with people who are in that writer's room and the producers who are approving this, who don't know how to recognize really strong storytelling and development, because they know only how to create very one or two dimensional melodramatic narratives that either have some kind of mystery at the center, that they pick and choose the amount of information that they give you, hoping that you will accept and like the payoff that they have planned. And they push every aspect of the storytelling towards that, even to the point of characters making silly and stupid choices that don't make any sense. I thought the addition of White Tiger was too much too soon, because we haven't had a chance to see what Matt's been up to all this time. I mean, is this the first time he's worn the Daredevil costume since the last time we saw him? Last time we saw him, he seemed in a bad place mentally after Elektra's death and all the stuff with the hand. So, and they didn't take the time to do the work to bring us to where they are and to orient us for this narrative. We get there's background and there's history and all that stuff, but that is why I saw a problem with those 2 episodes. And that's why I kept looking at the runtime and expecting that this thing's going to turn at some point, but it never did. The way this episode 2 ends it's very much, we're walking down the same path. We knew we were going to get to the point where he was going to do that. And I don't know how those cops are feeling the next day. I'm almost certain they're using their own oxygen machines and taking puree, because one of them, at least he had to have broke his neck, severed his column from when he pushed his head and gravity met flesh and bone and neck. Like he may not kill, and he might, but if he was worried about what he did to Bullseye in that scene with the cops, I'm almost certain he forgot all about it.
So here's the thing real quick. Marvel logic, I thought Bullseye was dead, and I thought that was the reason he quit, because he broke his code. Well, now I don't know the history of Daredevil. Does he have a kill or no kill policy? I know he hurt.
That would have made more sense.
Yeah. So that's what I
Catholic. So he's a Christian at the end of the day. So
he get that Kingpin about forgiveness and retribution. So he's living by this religious moral code that's been tied to the comics. But yeah, I was like, why? Like a year had passed. So that was the time after Foggy's death and them like linking up. He has this whole thing of reinvented himself. But yeah, I couldn't figure out. They both lost a friend. Why and Karen wasn't talking to him. She just upped and moved away. It didn't make any sense. It wasn't really explained. And I think because of the history of him, she wanted him not to be Daredevil. That when he crossed the line of murdering somebody, would have been her reasoning for like, you know what, you're never gonna change. I'm only here because of Fog.
That would have made more sense.
Right.
Or also, it probably would have helped to establish this theme of vigilantism and it hitting a peak in the city and becoming a much bigger problem. Which is why I said they should not have just thrown the white tiger thing in there like that. They should have allowed more time to see, because when we watch these other Marvel properties, these stories that are set at the exact same time in the exact same place, nobody's talking about the problem with vigilantes. No one is talking about the problem of Daredevil or the Punisher or White Tiger or any of the or even Spider-Man. So we know that Spider-Man, the only thing about him is that at one point they knew who he was, but then Doctor Strange and he ruined all of that. So he's still known. It's just he's back to being, his identity is unknown. So and obviously they don't want to touch on what he's doing because that's for the next movie. But you know,
so I was confused.
You got to establish the thing. It's going to be vigilantism. Show us the problem. Maybe we see that in the news, several mass vigilantes have popped up over the last year. They're all trying to follow Daredevil and Punisher's. You got it with cops with the whole Punisher tattoo, and obviously that's a thing. But that's again, if you can't make these things work out in tandem, you know, if there's not a situation where we establish that there's a problem between the vigilantes and the cops,
and there's an easy layup. Just use footage from the first Avengers movie or anything that's happened in New York between the first Iron Man movie and today.
You mean also, how do we go from in 5-10 minutes being nowhere to be seen and recovering from having got beaten down by and shot by was it Echo or
Echo
in Hawkeye, right, where he got shot in the throat. So in less time than none, this man is mayor of New York City. And I get it. He got the profile, got the money, got the influence, got all that stuff. It could work. But honestly, I would have rather that was part of the things that happened in the between the meantime. He recovered. He turned things around. He launched his campaign. Matt has been keeping an eye on him. Some of those other vigilantes have been harassing him. And he's ready to launch this platform of no more vigilantes, even if it means we got to take down Spider-Man himself. Because obviously the more powerful vigilantes, good luck with that. But the ones like Daredevil and White Tiger, he can do something about them. But establish that stuff in the background so that when we hit episode 1, you have that, refer to it, and you can build off of that. And create a narrative that actually makes sense and people want to follow.
Yeah. Here's one thing before we segue. So when Bullseye comes onto the scene, shoots Foggy, shoots the 2 patrons, Karen's out there. Why he didn't shoot her?
I think the idea was he was trying to, and by that point it was all chaos, and she ducked and moved.
He don't miss.
That's true.
He don't miss.
He does it.
I thought the same thing.
Like, why did she die right there?
That's a good point.
Because if he wanted to kill her, Bullseye could have shot off of a piece of metal and had that bullet ricochet right in there. He wasn't aiming for her, but we just don't know why he chose Foggy and not her too.
Well, so he chose Foggy, and then I think she comes out, or two other people comes out. They get shot. She comes out. She don't get shot. Here's my other point. We noticed the thing between the Trump and now
The
parallels and analogies and the cops.
I mean, like very low hanging fruit.
Yeah. So I think this show is trying too hard. I think this show is trying too hard to capture a certain audience.
To make a political statement.
Even make a political statement. Yeah. Like, we get it. We understand the real world with the whole Punisher insignia and the Blue Lives Matter and all that and the Trumpism. But I think it's trying too hard to pander to get, in my opinion, I think it's like lowbrow type of stuff that's just trying to appeal to this particular audience. I think they just need to just chill. We get it.
I think honestly, I think it's more laziness. I don't even think it's that deep. I think it was like a low, like kind of like what Dee said, like low hanging fruit. And it's funny because when I was watching it and watching that kind of thing, I was just kind of like, okay, yeah, I see what you're trying to do, but it's so blatant and like sloppy that it doesn't do anything besides just A, piss people off, or B, just be like, yo, man, that was an easy thing for you. This is easy for you to do, and you're doing it in a way that's just kind of like intellectually lazy.
So here's another point. Marvel has a history of this. I was gonna say Marvel has a history of this, where we've seen it in Avengers, where the whole the girl team up woman, like, I'm just like, all right,
yeah,
we get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to do that. That's not what made us like.
Well, even Captain Marvel's taking again, I don't have a problem with Captain Marvel's character. I didn't have a problem with any of those things happening. It's just a matter of how you do it, and how they did it was something that was very disingenuous.
Yep.
Hulk should have had that fight, should have got his receipts against Thanos, because he actually had the connection all the way back from the very first Avengers, when Thanos gave Loki what he needed to attack New York City and Earth. He was always a part of that journey. So to deny him that moment, where obviously Hawkeye can't stand toe-to-toe with Thanos, not even 10, and Black Widow is dead, that means that the only members of the OG team that have been dealing with Thanos crap for the last whatever is Hulk, Thor, Iron Man, and Cap. Now, those four, again, whether together or the three of them, like they did, jump him and he handles them, and then boom, here come Hulk in his seat. And even if him and Thanos fought to a somewhat standoff where Thanos was able, because honestly, part where he starts saying rain fire, I thought that would have been a moment, because if Hulk got him one and he handling him, and he's gonna have to get that order, and that would have been
if we're gonna stick to the comics, and the ethos of the Hulk has, since before we were born, has been the angrier he gets, the stronger he gets. It's real simple math. Even with Bruce's intellect, that still holds true, and we have evidence of that in the comic books. So if you're gonna go through the pains of making it so that Bruce and the Hulk have now been merged, there's still the rules. The rules still apply, and if you're not gonna use that, like Dee was saying, if you're not gonna use that to its fullest advantage to create a moment, like there's no moment where the Hulk ends up being the Hulk in the fuck. Thor gets to be Thor. Iron Man gets to be Iron Man. Cap gets to be Cap.
Spider-Man got to be Spider-Man. Like everybody
Hawkeye gets to be Hawkeye. Everybody has their moment. Yep. The only character in Endgame that does not get to be themselves is Bruce, for no good reason.
I think it'd be the reason is money, because that shit's expensive.
And you need to figure out a way to take Hulk off the board.
There you go.
Well, you know what I mean? But don't have him in the thing and chart up arm and all, which is that's mind-boggling in and of itself, because he's a giant cancer. Like the whole point of the Hulk is he's a giant cancer. Like he's a gamma.
Yeah, he's gamma radiation, which means that the radiation in his body would instantly charge and make that he wouldn't get weaker as a result. He would just get stronger. And
Yes.
and that's what the part that missed. And when they change these things, they try to take on those social commentary or whatever it is, and it comes, not only is it disingenuous, but it comes at the expense of so many potential things. And I feel that's where Marvel is, and I feel like that's what I felt with some of what I saw in Daredevil. Just to put a button and bring it back to that.
Yeah, because the closest we get to anything like that is when Scarlet Witch sort of lets him loose, and like he's doing the thing with he's in the fight with the Hulkbuster armor, but the further into that fight you go, and I think there's a point where Tony realizes this can't continue because it's only getting worse. I'm running out of tricks. There's no more. He bats aside Veronica. So now this is only going to get worse because he's only getting angrier.
And I think that to bring it back onto Daredevil, like you said, it's like you don't let the characters be the characters, then the audience is like, what are we doing?
Right.
I think like,
why are we here?
Why are we here?
That was my and the costume. Why are we here? I don't want to see 8 episodes of Matt Murdock, like Cam said.
Yep,
you can do it. There's no excuse. Like I agree with what Josh was saying. That's important, but the whole structure of this story is allow him for both. In the day when he's a lawyer, he's Charlie Cox being Matt Murdock, and you see his face, you see who he is. But when it comes time for him to out and do what he does best, we want to see the red mask with the pointy horns and the short what do you call them? I don't know, batons or well, that's what we want to see, him leaping off. That's why I did enjoy that first opening until the fight, because it was just too much of the same what they've done with these long takes and all that stuff.
Yeah, we're gonna be in a hallway or a staircase, and he's gonna he's gonna get beat out of them, but still get the guy.
It became too much when by the time he got up to the 4th or 5th flight of stairs, he looked like a porcupine. And I'm like, come on, man. That man got to be looking like a sieve. Like I'm saying, like he would at least be slowing down just based on the amount of blood loss that's coming out of him. Because otherwise he would, man, he look like strawberry shortcake. I'm saying, Kevlar.
Got to that roof looking like your grandma's needle pincushion. And I was like, serious. So standing in the
voodoo doll, like just stabbing them.
Yeah.
And he kept hitting them. And I'm like, man, this dude, when is he going to drop? Because he should be
a lot of news for one person to serve.
Seriously, glutton for punishment. Well,
yeah.
So I double
murder, it's a lot of knives.
Yeah. So I double checked. Yeah, it's actually 9 episodes for this first season, and it's already got renewed for a second, by the way. So
that money by episode 5, that's gonna be the one where Daredevil does the thing, whatever the thing is, probably another hallway fight or something not original.
Yeah, so it's
a long take of some measure to show, and I think what they're trying to do, try to establish his resiliency in hand-to-hand combat, and I get that, but it becomes to a point where it becomes a gimmick, especially if you don't have a way to continue to elevate that visual. And each time they've used it, it has not been elevated from the start. Yeah, they've changed the backdrop or the location or the length of how long it's done, or the situation that brings exactly having to now have yet another fight. Yeah, or Daredevil just looks like he's gonna drop dead. It should be dead by the end of it. Any number of those scenarios, but still with the long take and the great fight choreography. I'll give them that. It's really good, but it's more the same, and it's not the decision to take him out, to make that character decide once again that he's not going to wear the costume, that he's going to give the Daredevil mission. We've been down this road. Show me something else or you lost me. I won't be back next season.
And I think that's a good way to leave it. There you go, Daredevil Born Again, 2 episodes. A good what was that called? A mix of meh? Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, for that it can die again after this first season. That's right. As far as I'm concerned, it was born and now it can die. That was awful. We've had this. We've had the resurrection. Now, please go away.
Like I said, I'll be tuning in to Matt Murdock to see if it's gonna put me to sleep like Bob Ross. So we'll see.
And we
Trees.
trees.
Yes.